Kittle out, Mostert out, Witherspoon questionable. Go ahead.
You had said earlier in the day that Kittle's availability would hinge on today's practice. Did he just not look right today? What was your assessment of that?
It was more prior to practice, just while he's getting warmed up, getting loose, just being having a conversation with him. Me just talking with Kittle and kind of seeing where he was at, and we felt it was a lot safer to leave him out. So made that didn't need to wait another day because how he sounded today.
And Kyle, when it comes to Nick Mullins getting ready for his start, how has he advanced since we last saw him in a start back to 2018? And specifically, I guess in terms of his arm strength, how has it gotten stronger?
I think Nick works at it all the time. The more you work at it, the more your feet are under you. It's not all just about the arm. It's the rhythm within your drop back, the rhythm with where you're going when you're eligible, seeing things. When you can have your feet under you and your cleats in the ground and you let something go on time, you're going to get the most out of your arm. So the more he is decisive, the more he knows exactly where he's going, the more he gets out of his arm. So he's gotten a lot more reps than he did last time. Not live reps, but he played pretty well the last time he played, and he usually gets most of his reps in camp, gets a ton on scout team, but it was really good for him this week to get 3 days in a row with the ones and looked ready to go.
Kyle, when it comes to the quarterback spot moving forward, is that decision going to be impacted at all by how Mullins plays on Sunday, or is that solely based on how Jimmy feels?
No, it's totally how Jimmy feels. When Jimmy's ready to go, he'll be out there.
Kyle, what happened with Akello, and then are you confident Jason Verrett can fill in that spot if Akello's not available or limited?
Yeah, very confident in Jason. He had a real good week of practice, and he had a real good camp before he hurt his hamstring. Akello had a tight hamstring yesterday, tweaked it a little bit, so we held him out, or he was limited today. So we'll see how that goes over the next 24 hours.
Hey Kyle, regarding D Ford, the fact that he's had an MRI, you guys haven't placed him on IR at least short term. Is there optimism? You mentioned getting some treatment in medicine that obviously there's no guarantee, but that could resolve itself in a few days. Obviously not guaranteed, but is that kind of the situation with him?
Yeah. I think the situation is when you just think of people with back injuries. People have. When you have back issues, sometimes it takes some time, but that stuff will calm down and you'll feel really good. And if it never does, then you have to do bigger things, and you always want to wait for those bigger things. So you don't know whether it's a day, a week, or a month. I've been around a lot of guys who, they barely can walk, and all of a sudden their back spasms go away, and they're good in a few days. I've also been around guys that takes a couple weeks, and some guys they have to fix it before it changes. So we're doing all that with D Ford. I'd be surprised if he's there next week, but I want to rule him out. But that's something that, again, we'll see week to week with that.
Hey Kyle, Nick Mullins was saying earlier in the week that you always make it a point to make sure all 53 guys on the roster, and I guess probably even the practice squad, especially this year, know that their time is always very close. I'm wondering when that became a focus for you, or if it's something you always did as a head coach, and what is your message to those guys to make sure they're always on top of things?
You don't have to sell much. It's just the truth. Growing up a coach's son maybe helped me understand that urgency at a young age. I hear that all the time, that, talking to my dad on a Friday, how's this guy going to do? What's going on? And he's a play away from being out there. It's not like college football. You don't have all these guys. There's only a certain amount of guys. So the practice squad is huge, and we've always wanted more people for it because there's not a time in the year that you don't end up using those guys. I feel like the majority of our practice squad players, the majority of them, in all 3 of the years that we've had here, end up playing. So it's you just learn that through going. Every coach knows that going through the NFL. And that's why you put a lot of pressure on those guys every week, because if they think it's a redshirt year and they think they just get to develop and work 3 days a week, those guys get shocked. And then when they do get their opportunity, they don't get another one after that. So I constantly try to tell those guys, because I've seen too many people get surprised when they're up and then this league passes him by very fast.
Hey Kyle, you had an instance there where it looked like you guys didn't have enough numbers in the 90s, but with Ziggy Ansah, he was wearing 98, but is he moving to 94 now, and what exactly happened to make that happen?
No, we just have an issue with retired numbers on our team. That's why training camp is always very tough for us. So we've just retired, I think, too many numbers. We'll see how that keeps going. But we had to do that last year. I think when DJ Jones got hurt and we brought in Earl, Earl had to wear DJ's number. So that stuff does happen. Ronald Blair, we're expecting to get back and play for us and really help us this year. And then Solly, obviously, him going on IR for the year, that made that available. And Ziggy was real cool about it because that's his number. He called Solly and asked him if he could do it, and Solly was honored to tell him it was no problem, and really helped him out with that.
Kyle, is going back on this field where there's so many injuries, is that a mental hurdle that you need to discuss with your team?
No, I would have said yes on Monday, maybe on Tuesday. By the time Wednesday came, I think we're good. And I think everyone's a little emotional and stuff after those games. I kind of said it because I've heard so much about it this week, and it was a big deal to us Sunday and Monday. But turf's not good in general. I don't care where it is. Everyone knows that turf, there's about 30% more injuries on turf than there is on grass. So that's an issue everywhere you go. We understand it's new turf, so usually brand new turf is a little bit worse than all the other bad turf. So and it just needs to get broken in. So our players understand that. The NFL's done everything to check it out. It is what it is. It's just another turf field, and of course we'd rather play on grass because it is safer, but that's not something that's on our minds at all anymore. We were a little emotional after the game on it, but I promise it's gone and we are ready to go. And the good thing about that turf is we'll be a lot faster on it.
Hey Kyle, you've talked about the depth of the team and just talking about how everybody's gotten past the turf. Can you talk a little bit about the maturity of this team and the resiliency after a week like this?
I was real proud of the team, on Sunday, and I think it's carried over into the week just by the type of practice that we had. It was a very eerie feeling in an empty stadium with no one there and no music. It was silent. And, when Nick goes down, it gets even more silent because they turn off the ambient noise. You got to wait for the cart to come out. And it's just kind of an eerie feeling. And then for it to happen 2 plays later with Solly, and just how long it happened and just how weird the whole place is, it didn't totally feel like anything anyone's ever been a part of. What I loved about it was how our players responded the rest of that game. They had huge concerns. It was extremely awkward for everybody. But if you turned on the silent tape and watched how they played, you would have never known how it felt when we were there. That's also how I felt with practice this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and today. And that's how I expect to feel on Sunday.
I think the last time we talked to you about Deebo Samuel, he was dealing with some soreness in the foot. Has he been out with you guys in West Virginia? How does he look, and are you optimistic that he could be back for week 4?
I am. I'm optimistic he'll be back next week. He had a real good week. Last week in the rehab hard with all those guys, and just being able to watch him work out here on the side, he looks real good running routes, and he's been able to do it without pain. So I expect to get him back next week. Whether that means the game on Sunday, I don't know. That's stuff that I don't even think about till I see how he looks on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Hey, Kyle, last year when you had these stayovers, that on the back end of what am I trying to say? The second game of those trips, the Bengals and the Saints, you had like 700 points and 2,000 yards. You jokingly, said you were able to focus more and had more time to work on the game plan. I would get maybe half jokingly, you didn't have as many distractions. Have you had a very productive week this week, and can we expect similar results?
We'll see what the results are. I know we had some success last year in those 2 games. I like being in a hotel all week. It's nice when it's 11 at night and you're thinking about how you got to drive home. That gets on your mind a little bit more, knowing you got to come back the next day around 5. When you're sitting in a place like this around 11, and my home is just up an elevator, You kind of are just a little more relaxed, and you can wake up earlier, stay up later. You don't have any of the travel time, and it's just kind of a good atmosphere that I do enjoy. By the end of it, you're always very ready to get back home. Everyone misses their families and stuff like that. But I do think there's an advantage to staying out here. It helped us last year. We'll see what happens this year. I mean, nothing is absolute. We'll see what the results are on Sunday, but I know we enjoy it for about a week. We could maybe do it again if we space it out, but it's not something we could do every week.
Kyle, with the Giants' reliance on multiple tight end sets, what does the loss of Dre Greenlaw mean to you guys, and how do you hope to compensate for that?
I mean, everyone knows how good of a player Dre is. He did a hell of a job for us last year, and he's doing it for us this year. We were hoping he could get up this week. He ended up being hurt a little bit worse than we expected, so it's unfortunate. But we got a lot of good players on defense. I know Aziz got a lot of playing time last year also, so he's been out there. We got a number of other guys you guys haven't seen yet who can help us too. So next man up, like it is at a number of positions, and it's always good when the next man up is a guy that has been out there with our team, and we know what we can expect from him.
You got one more?
What are the characteristics of a Patrick Graham defense, and do you tap Tony Oden at all this week, given the familiarity he has with that scheme?
Yeah, you always ask coaches who have been with people. Then you watch it on tape because stuff changes all the time. But I mean, this is my first time I think going against him, and you can tell it comes from the New England tree and how they do things. But you can tell he's very good at what he does. Extremely smart. It's impossible to predict every front that he has, every coverage that he has, whatever play works versus that stuff. He has got a front and a coverage that completely counteracts that. So does a hell of a job mixing his personnel. Schematically, it is very sound, and it's why it doesn't surprise me why their numbers are so good after these first 2 weeks.
All right, folks, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Knees too big.
Hey guys, we got Kerry here for you.
Hey, Kerry, I don't know what your mindset was when you came to the 49ers, knowing that Nick Bosa was there and Dee Ford was there and all that depth on the line. But has your mindset changed any since you've become basically after 2 weeks, not just a piece of the puzzle, but now a guy that the team is counting on to really produce and keep this thing afloat?
Not really. I've always kind of approached my work, my practice, my games the same way. So I'm just kind of getting ready for a heavier workload. But as far as my preparation, anything like that, I've always prepared to step in and make plays or prepare like a starter.
Hey, Kerry, Jake Hutchinson. The Giants use 3 tight ends more than any team in the league, something like 20% of the season thus far. What's been your impression of that on tape, and does that change how you guys have to approach them?
From what I can tell, they want to be a physical group. They want to run the ball. They want to get into those big personnels and, try to be physical with the front and try to control the line of scrimmage.
Hi, Kerry. You've obviously been doing this for a little while in the NFL, but getting back with Chris Kacerek, I don't know, as far as technique-wise, mentally, or anything else, has it, benefited you, changed anything about, change anything from what you may have been doing in Dallas last year?
I guess we would say there's a level of comfort, just being with Chris. It's a level of trust there between us, and I'm just able to, I guess, be myself. I guess if you want to say, he kind of like raised me up in the league, and he just helped me become a productive player. So just getting back with him, I was excited for it, and I just made sure I came ready and prepared for it.
Gary, I think Eric sort of asked my question for me, so I'm going off the cuff here. But just in terms of the mood of the defense, how would you say your teammates are responding, just given all that happened last week?
We've always had the next man up mentality. Obviously those guys are amazing players, and it's gonna take a group effort, to make up for their production and that kind of thing. But as a group, we understand that we have a goal, and the train has to keep moving. We have to try to step up for those guys and play for those guys.
Throughout your career so far, Kerry, what's been the rough ratio as far as playing inside versus playing defensive end, and what's your comfort level being probably being a defensive end solely for at least the near future here?
It's for me. It's kind of been a week to week thing for me. Like, since I've been in the league, but I've always considered myself a defensive lineman and try not to just. A lot of the techniques are the same. Some stuff just happens faster or later, so I just try to play my technique the best way I can and just go fast.
You had your best year in Detroit with Chris Kacerek as your coach. What is it about him that brings out your best? And then also, you're now reunited with Ziggy. So how has that transition been for him?
I think for both of us, just we have that, like I said earlier, a level of comfort with Chris. And me and Ziggy getting back together. That's my brother. We have a bond from playing together in Detroit. So. I would say it's like riding a bike, getting back with Chris for both of us. We kind of can get back into it, and especially since we were kind of like raised up on the scheme and the techniques.
2 more guys.
Hey, Kerry, this is Cam Inman. I believe you're probably one of the few guys, maybe the only guy that's faced Daniel Jones on the Giants. What can you tell us about him, and what are you expecting Sunday?
Oh man, he's a great quarterback, man. He can make all the throws. He can move around. His future's bright, man. We just, as a group, we got to try to affect him the best way we can.
Kyle Posey. Did you ever think that you'd line up on the same field as Ziggy Ansah again? And I also want to know, did you play any part in recruiting him to the 49ers? And I want to know, what type of player are the 49ers getting in Ansah?
You know, Ziggy's my brother. We always talk and that kind of thing. I wouldn't say I had to recruit him or anything like that. He's just my brother. We always check on each other. But Ziggy, he's a hardworking player, man. He's going to fly around. He's going to make plays. It's always been his thing. He's always been a physical guy and a guy that can hustle and make plays. So you expecting a hard worker.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, guys. How was that?
That was great. Cool.
We got here just.
Yeah, we're gonna unmute you in a second, and then Tessa will have them. We'll call on them to ask questions. Hey guys, we got Nick here for you.
Hey Nick, it's Cam. Where has your game gotten strongest over the last 2 years, in just terms of what have you really tried to work on, I guess, physically?
Yeah, I mean, first it starts with arm strength. You know, that's the thing everybody's going to criticize, but it's one thing that I've attacked. And so just playing with the full field, that's huge to me. And I'm excited to show that on Sunday. And then being in the system for, 4 years now, like Coach Shanahan says, how automatic can you get? You know, just everything, how crisp, how automatic, how professional can you be? And that's one thing that I've focused on every single day.
Nick, both Mohamed Sanu and George Kittle were in here yesterday talking to us about how they're very confident in you. What does that do for you and your confidence, knowing that you've got those players behind you?
It's huge. It really does. It helps a lot. You know, I enjoy stepping into the huddle and just hearing encouragement, you know, from our team captains like Juice and George, and then the veteran like Sanu. He's come in, done a great job. You know, Coach Shanahan spoke highly of him before he got here, and then he's been everything that we thought he was going to be. And we got a good rapport pretty quick. He's a real cool dude, and so it's fun playing with Mo.
Hey, Nick, you mentioned the other day that Kyle has always been very intentional about being on you guys as backups to always kind of be on top of your game. Yeah. I'm wondering, how does he go about that? How does he stay on top of you? And for you in particular, what has that process been like?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I take away is from his team meetings. The way, since day one, the way he's motivated the team. It's always something new, and it's always something that you don't necessarily think about, that he pushes into the team. And he gives the team life, and that's really where I take most from it. It's, as a professional, it's our expectation and our job to be able to step in at any time. But his team meetings, the way he influences, the videos that he shows us, the different things he does to motivate us, it keeps us going. And he always tells us you're either getting better or worse, and so that sits in my mind every day.
Hey, Nick, when you get to this level, there's kind of a belief like your arm strength is your arm strength, but obviously you feel fairly confident. You've improved that. How have you gone about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, after the 2018 season, you work out with the Tom House guys, and they established a foundation with some very key coaching points for me to just focus on and continue to get better at. And then the coach that I work with back in Mobile, David Morris, you just work, every drive, every ball, focus on, those mechanics and things like that, throwing programs, and just relentless work in the off season. You are what you are, but you can maximize that. And so that's the growth mindset that I've always had, and worked very hard on it.
Nick, Jimmy Garoppolo sort of made a name for himself in New England coming into play when he had his opportunities as a backup. I'm curious if you've had any conversations with him about that, about his mindset and maybe the competitive drive that a backup quarterback has to eventually want to become a full-time starter. Right.
I wouldn't say anything too specific. I feel like we've talked about the Cardinals game. I feel like in general we've talked about that game. And then just over the course of spending time with Jimmy, I've learned a lot. Just the way that he operates on a daily basis, just taking full control of the team. He's kind of the heartbeat for the offense. And so just the daily, I guess you get more from the daily conversations than just like one specific conversation. And so, yeah, Jimmy's a great role model, and definitely aware of who he sat behind for 4 years. And, kind of the next best thing for me is sitting behind Jimmy, I guess. So, yeah.
Nick, you won't have George Kittle, Mostert, Coleman, Debo, but you do have an array of guys out there still. So what do you see in that supporting cast that will line up next year?
Yeah, definitely. It's Coach Shanahan said it. We got 53 really, really good football players on our team, and they're on the roster for a reason. They've proved that. Hasty and Jeff Wilson. Hasty had a great camp, caught people's eye very quick, and then Jeff, he's earned every bit of what he got. He started on practice squad last year, and just every opportunity he has stepped up. And then Jet, I can't wait for him to get the carries that he's going to get. He's earned every bit. Got a great story. And then coolest thing about last week is Ayuk, when he finished the game, he was so excited to get back out there. That was really cool. He said, man, I can't wait to get back out there for next Sunday. And so to see the energy behind those guys is awesome.
2 more guys.
Hey, Nick, what is it about Kendrick Bourne that seems, you guys had some pretty good games together late in 2018, and he just seems to be a guy that appears, 2 or 3 times a game, but it's always on third downs or in the red zone. What is it about him that makes it comfortable for a quarterback like you to look for him?
Yeah, well, I think his trait, his kind of go-to thing is hands in transition. He's not the fastest guy, but he runs great routes. You always know where he's going to be, and he can separate versus man coverage. And those are key things as we move along in this offense. Is his hands in transition. You give him a good throw, he's always going to get positive yards. And so it's been fun. Came in together undrafted 2017, and so to see KB evolve and earn everything that he's gotten, it's awesome to see, and it gives us a lot of confidence.
Nick, how would you say you've matured as a player the last couple of years, emotionally and mentally?
Yeah, I think, first you come in the NFL and you're just trying to get comfortable with all the different situations and things like that. But the way that Coach Shanahan has motivated us as a team, you can handle anything. You can handle anything. And I feel like that's how I feel. It's you just control what you can control. You work to get better every single day. What you need to improve on in your game and at different times and how you can get better. And that's the daily mindset that I've had and that you have to have to be successful.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Hey, Nick.
We good?